lonely. She sat down watching for the cranes. They were the most important birds to her, but they were not here yet. A hard lump in her chest, and she could not make it go away. She watched the sky in the direction of the big blue hills, waiting. She thought of last year, standing here, holding her Tema's warm hand. Then her Tema had pointed towards the sky, above the hills, and whispered, "There they are." And her heart pounded with excitement. She remembered how, it's just a little awkward.
It is, yeah.
She remembered how they were just gray smudge at first, more moving in the sky, and then she could hear them. Their calling songs to each other high up in the sky sounded like children calling, laughing, and shouting to each other, like sounds she once heard from the village playground far below the high hill where she and her Tema had gone to pick elderberries. The sounds came and went in the slight breeze. The hard lump seemed to grow and grow in her chest. She watched and watched the sky until she heard her mama calling her from the house above the lake.
I have a question. Who do you think her Tema is?
Her grandma.
I think it is her grandmother. Is that right, Taryne?
Yeah, it is. In fact, when it started reading it, I thought, oh, I wonder if I should stop. But yes.
Okay, her Tema is her grandmother, and she's talking about a time when last year her grandmother was there with her. Is her grandmother there with her now? We have not seen her grandmother, have we?
No.
Think about that and how that is going to be different for our character. CJ, back up your chair, please.
Oh, I thought you had your hand up. Chi, come on in. Breakfast is ready. As Chi stopped to open the door, she turned one last time to look at the bright blue sky. Inside, she took off her jacket and hung it up on the hook by the door. Her mama stood at the kitchen stove, stirring a pot. Her tummy was very round under the dress. Chi looked at her mama's tummy and tried to imagine a little sister or brother sleeping in there. She moved to stand close to her mama. I made some of your favorite food, Saskatoon berries, the ones we picked last year. We're lucky to have the best of all foods growing all around us, aren't we? Her mama said, smiling down at her. Mama, the May birds didn't come back yet, she said, her voice sad, looking down at the tips of her shoes. Oh, which ones are the main ones? Her mama asked, spooning oatmeal into a green bowl for her. She ladled the berries on top, and the sweet red juice trickled into the warm oatmeal. You know, the cranes, the ones that fly in big circles before they land. I looked and looked for them. I wish they would come. Don't worry, they will be here. It is just like a big circle. Each year in the spring, they come here from the warm south, where they have nested and made new babies. They stop here at this lake to eat and rest. Then they fly far up to the north, where they live for the summer to make more baby cranes. Then, in the fall, they stop here again on their way south before winter. They have been doing that since the beginning of this land. Chi's mama hugged her and said, "Now sit down and eat while your oatmeal is warm." She sat down slowly. She didn't feel hungry, even though the food smelled good. She felt sad and worried. Mama, what if they don't ever come back? What if they leave forever like my Tema did? She bent her head as fat tears rolled down her cheeks and the hard lump in her chest turned into sobs. I miss my Tema. Why did she have to die? Why can't she come back like the cranes do? Why does anybody have to die? Her mama knelt down beside the chair and put her arms around Chi and stroked her hair while Chi sobbed. She whispered, Chi, you know your Tema got very, very sick. All just miss her. Her mama lifted her chin and looked into her eyes and continued in a safe tone. All people must die sometime because new people always come. She sat down on the chair next to Chi and spoke quietly. Even though it looks like the same bunch of cranes comes every year, they don't. You see, every year new cranes are added and every year some cranes die. If no cranes died, then there would be way too many cranes, and finally there would be no room for anything else but cranes. It's the same for people, and even though it is the saddest thing when someone dies, it is also the happiest thing when a new person is added. She stood up slowly. Now, dry your tears and have some oatmeal. Today I will go with you to the lake and watch for the cranes. She ate slowly, thinking of how her Tema had sung a wonderful song when the cranes had flown over them. She and her Tema had watched them circle and circle and then land on the far side of the lake. She remembered the noise of their calling when they were overhead. They sounded like hundreds of people at the summer powwow, singing and talking all of the time, all at the same time. Her Tema had told her that the song of the cranes was like a prayer for good things. She said that if they ever circled and landed all around you, then it was a special blessing, just like the summer powwows and winter dances were blessings because they made you happy. She thought that going to the lake with her mama just wouldn't be the same without her Tema. It would be just sad, and she wasn't sure she wanted to. When she had enough oatmeal, her mama put her bowl in the sink and wiped the table. Come on, Chief. Get your coat on. Let's walk down to the lake. I need some fresh air. As they walked the long trail down to the lake, her mama held her hand. Gee, your daddy's going to be coming home today. This time he'll be here for the whole summer. She suddenly felt a little better. Her daddy had been away in the south, like the cranes, because he went there for work. He'd been away for many, many days now. Daddy's coming home today? When? Let's go back. He might be there now. She was already turning to run back up to the hill to the house when her mama laughed. Gee, he's not there yet. We have time to go for a nice walk. They stopped at the edge of the sand when they reached the lake. Her mama held her hand as they stood quietly listening to all the sounds and looking out at the swans now floating toward them. Suddenly, she heard the sound she had been waiting for. It sounded like the high voices of children playing far away. Mama, I hear them. I hear the cranes. Look, there they are. They stood with their heads turned toward the sky. The sounds grew louder and louder, and a gray smudge grew and grew into thousands of black dots as they came directly overhead. Then her mama began to sing the same wonderful song her Tema had sung, and the cranes began to circle right over them. Her heart was beating so fast she thought she could hear it go thump, thump, thump. The thump grew louder and louder, and then she realized it was footsteps on the trail behind them. She spun around the same time her mama did. Daddy! Daddy, you're here! She leapt up into his arms while her mama hugged them both and kept singing the song Tema had sung. It was then she heard the sound of the thousands of wings beating the air around them. Cranes were swirling in circles, coming down lower and lower around them. Her daddy began to sing too. Then she felt so happy she couldn't help but sing too. When she closed her eyes and sang, she felt her Tema right there singing with them. She could see her Tema smile and even hear her voice in the song of the cranes. They sang and danced and a round dance together, with cheese sandwiched between them. It was just like at the powwows, right here at the lake's edge. They danced while the wonderful cranes landed around them with big leaping bounds. They landed with their blue-gray wings and their tails up, calling and making sounds like the boys did when they fancy dance. The three of them slowly stopped singing and dancing when the cranes finally all landed and began to walk around on their skinny legs looking for food. Her daddy and mama sat down in the sand with her between them, laughing and smiling. She hugged her daddy and smiled at her mama. I'm glad you're home. She and I have been pretty lonely by ourselves here the last couple of months, her mama said to the daddy. She smoothed Chi's hair and added, we have some good news too. She's going to have a baby sister or brother by the time the cranes come back in the fall. Our circle will be full again when we meet them. Chi felt happy for the first time since her Tema had died. She sat looking out at the lake, listening to the cranes now flocking toward the far end of the lake. They would soon be flying away, but she knew she would remember their sounds and the excitement of their dance and the song. She thought of her Tema. Her Tema would always be inside of her. Like the song of the cranes, every time she sang or she danced at the powwow or at the winter dance, she would have her Tema inside her. She knew she would never forget what the song meant. She would keep that inside of her always. She could hardly wait until the cranes came back in the fall. She thought of her new brother or sister, and there was such a good feeling inside of her, she thought she would burst. And these are the two, let's see, she's the author and he's the artist.
Illustrator.
Sorry? Illustrator, very good. An illustrator is an artist.
Friends like artists on the song.
Why does this book talk about, how does this book talk about being brave and having courage? Does anyone have an idea about why? Yep, you don't need to worry about that. Gabby, do you have an idea?
Because
Tema, yeah. When your grandma died? Yeah, it would be scary. It would be very scary to have someone in your family pass away and then to wonder how life was going to be different without them. Right? Was Chi pretty brave about it though?
yeah.
She was afraid, but she was still brave, right? She still went down to the water where she and Tema used to go together, and she waited for the cranes even though her grandmother was not there with her. What else showed that she was brave in the story? Iris?
I was thinking of
She's thinking a lot about her grandma, isn't she? Yeah, that made her kind of sad. She cried in the story, didn't she? It's okay to cry when you're sad and when you are afraid. What about her daddy being gone for work? Do you think that if your daddy had to go away for work for a long time, that you might be a little bit afraid? No? Yeah, you might worry about them getting back safely or just having someone you love being so far away. Right? But she was brave and she waited, right? She waited for him to come back and he did come back. What about having a little brother or sister? Miles' mom is going to have a baby soon, isn't she? Miles, are you a little bit nervous about it? No, you're feeling good about it? Yeah? Are you afraid